Hey guys, it's Lizzie. I am so happy to be back. I have not live streamed in 1 month. I actually thought it was 2 months because I feel like this past month so much has happened intellectually and emotionally within me that it feels like it's been way longer. But my last time live streaming was over Christmas break, I think on like December 29th or something. So I'm back and better than ever. The reason I've been gone is because I was finishing writing my book. Yes, I wrote a book on my conversion into Catholicism. It is 223 pages right now. Obviously, I'm still doing a lot of edits. My boyfriend is going to read through the whole book and do edits as well. And then it's going to be sent out to publishing companies. I have a list of like the one I want the most and the other ones. So I have to write a cover letter. But for one of the publishing companies, they just want to send you like, they want to be sent the entire book. And they even want you to print out the book and then mail it to them. And I'm like, why do you really want the paper copy so much? I mean, for me personally, I do love reading physical books, so I kind of get it. But it just seems like a huge waste of paper to print out like almost 300 pages and then send it out. So every publisher is unique. I just have to follow all their rules. Also, for this live stream, I asked some questions on my Instagram, so I will be answering those and answering some of your guys' as well. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Corelli. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Chaya. Hi, Vince. Hi, no one. That's a funny name. Okay, Jola's son donated money. Thank you so much. Lizzie, I haven't seen you in a whole half hour. We just had my Fiat 90, Exodus 90 meeting. You guys probably heard about that. I made a whole video about it about a month ago. So we have meetings every Saturday night and Sunday night. I actually have so much going on in my weeks, even though COVID's going on. The video's demonetized now. Anyways, because everything's going on in the world, because I have 2 Bible studies as well that I'm in that actually just ended. Now we're taking a 2-week break. But I do have so much going on over Zoom. I remember filming a collab with God is Gray about a year ago, and she was like, we're over Zoom. And I'm like, what's Zoom? And I like downloaded it, and I was like, I've never heard of this. Little did I know it would be like my entire life. Divine, how are you? I was just talking about how I finished my book. It has been the past 3 weeks, has been constant, like 10, 12 hours a day, just like running the amount that I'm writing and like reading through the chapters like over and over and over again to fix tiny grammar things. It's amazing how many mistakes you make as a writer. Like I will be rereading something for like the 50th time and still find a grammar mistake or a better way to rephrase something. So I'm so excited that I've had complete creative control throughout this entire process, basically. And obviously, I'm sure there'll be tons of things that need to be changed and edited and improved when I deal with the publishing company, when I work with the publishing company. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated on everything, of course. I think it should be able to come out by the summer just because it's finished and we have to do some edits. So I hope by mid-February, late February to be signed with a publishing company, and then we can do edits for the next few months. So I'm really excited. The title so far right now is Coming Home from Church of Christ to Christ Church, which is what I asked on Instagram and people sent me a ton of titles. So that's the one I chose. I personally think Coming Home is too close to Rome Sweet Home. So they're going to be like, that's not okay. Rome Sweet Home is iconic. Don't take any of the glory from it. But, we'll see how the title goes. It might change. I'm horrible at titling things, and throughout my life when I'm done writing, the title always comes at like the very end. So I feel like maybe in a few weeks when we start doing edits, like a new title will come. We'll see. But that's what's going on so far. Honestly, I have cried so much writing it because it's very emotional. I talk about my mental illness so much. I talk about how things with my parents went down, how it hurt relationships in my life, how I got denied from going to Thailand where I'd worked as a missionary. I just got rejected and like cut off from them. So all those experiences are so sad and made me really sad and heartbroken. And so a lot of writing my book is just like crying and crying and crying and like writing and writing. So much passion and emotion went into the entire process. Okay, we're going to read through comments. Joanna says, I've been binging your videos so much. Let's see. Please never go away from the true and unique church founded by God, the Catholic Church. Absolutely. I just went to church and I saw you were on live. What did you name? We already talked about that. Do you have any advice for wannabe writers? Because I really want to be an author. My advice is to pick songs. You play the songs on repeat as you're writing. There have been 3 main songs that I literally have listened to for like hundreds of hours on repeat, and it puts you in like the perfect mood for writing. And if you guys know about Fiat, you're not supposed to listen to secular music. The songs I've been listening to are Christian songs about God, and that's my number 1 tip. I also would say with like writing quotas and stuff to just write, like force yourself to write a certain amount every day. I think like there are times where you just like can write and write and write and write, which has been my experience. And kind of in with my bipolar and times of mania and stuff, it's just so easy to like write so much. And so it's almost hard for me to give advice to people who have like writer's block and like can't think of what to say, because my whole experience has been like very passionate and emotional and like so easy, which I'm really grateful that like God gave me this. No, God did not give me bipolar. His permissive will, not his active will, allowed me to have bipolar disorder, but so much good comes out of it, including artistry and writing. Michelle says, we are expecting a huge winter storm tonight in 25 minutes in Ohio. I'm warm and have enough food, and I got my nurse to leave out tomorrow's meds along with tonight. So I heard about that because I have friends who live in the Northeast, and they told me that it's going to snow. I'm so jealous. What tips do you have to grow closer to God? So I share this a lot. I think it's amazing. Right when you wake up in the morning, set a timer for 10 minutes and just talk to God. Same before you go to bed, just set a timer for 10 minutes and talk to God. And it puts you in a really good spiritual mental space where you want to talk to God throughout the day. So like when you're showering, you want to pray. When you're on your commute to work, you want to pray. When you're in conversations with people, you want to pray. Just make prayer like this constant song throughout every part of your life. And also set aside time for a Bible study. I know every Catholic ever is doing Father Mike Schmidt's Bible in a Year podcast. So definitely jump on that if you haven't already. It's about an hour every day, and it's like an amazing podcast to listen to. You're not too late to join. Just start now and then continue the rest of January next year. So that's something like every Catholic ever is doing. I don't think I know one Catholic who's not doing the Father Mike Schmidt's podcast in a year. Okay. So glad I got the alert that you were live. Yeah, YouTube is constantly like unsubscribing people, so make sure that you have notifications turned on and all notifications turned on, because there's like notifications off and then like personalized notifications, which is like randomly you'll get notified, and then like all notifications. So definitely make sure you click that. Okay, congrats on the book. I can't wait to read it. Oh, I hope I can read it. Yay. Vince says, thank you for the donation. Good news, my best friend's wife is pregnant. That's super exciting. Pregnancy is so sweet. Okay, let's read more comments. How many books have you made? So this is my first book I've ever written. When I was younger, I would write like fiction books and stuff, but nothing that I like would be interested in getting published in my adult life. So I have written novels before, and I also have a book about bipolar disorder that heavily needs edits. So probably someday I'll have a book about bipolar disorder come out too. Melanie, hi Lizzie, I missed you. I missed you guys too. I love how you talk to us like you're FaceTiming your BFF. Basically, I feel like you guys know so much about my life. Like, I talk to you guys in live streams. I mean, not lately, but usually more than I talk to some of my friends. So I feel like we are kind of like best friends for sure. Okay. Ah, she said my name, Joanna said. Okay, Lizzie, nice to catch you live. So cool to hear you talking about your book. Music on repeat is the only way I get any writing done. What were the songs? Okay, so this is going to sound like a secular song, but it's about God. It's called Head Above Water by Avril Lavigne. It's talking about her experience with Lyme disease, but I relate it so much to my experience with bipolar disorder and depression and making sure like I stay alive through everything that happened to me. And then Never Alone by Barlow Girl. And what is the other song that I listened to? I haven't listened to it recently. I totally forgot. I'll share this in a Q&A about my book later. I'll think of the third song. Any advice for getting back into a prayer routine after a long time away from prayer? So if you ever feel awkward talking to God, just write out prayers in a journal, because I feel like, I mean, in a relationship, like if you meet someone for the first time and you're like in your talking phase, it's way easier to text or like Facebook message and like FaceTime. So I think it's the same with God, where if you feel awkward just like talking to him, then write out prayers. That's what I used to do when I was younger. It's how I like developed my prayer life for sure. I think it's a lot of fun. And I get to read back my prayer journals. Like I literally have a bookcase in my apartment of like this many journals from my life. Natalie says, I agree on mental disorders. God allowed me to have OCD and scrupulosity for over 4 years now, but I still think so much good came from it. Yeah. Joanna says, I read your name for the 3rd time. Woo-woo. I'm so glad that someone else understands what bipolar is, because my friends are like, what the heck? Just be happy or sad? They've told you that? That's so freaking mean. If my friends talked to me like that, I would be like, that is not okay. Never say that ever again. Are you serious? Like, if they were that ignorant about mental illness, I don't think I could be friends with them. But good for you for remaining friends with people like that. Is it normal to cry when doing the rosary? For me, yes, because you feel so close to God. And so it makes sense to me that you would be crying during it, because you're thinking about all Jesus' life. Especially like if you're doing the sorrowful mysteries, which what is today? Today's Saturday. So when you're doing the sorrowful mysteries, it is so sad because you're thinking about Jesus being beaten and having thorns like pushed into his skull and being crucified. And then you're thinking of like his mom having to watch all of it and John having to watch all of it. And then it's heartbreaking. So like I cry so much when praying my rosary, also out of joy in some of the other mysteries, like the luminous mysteries, the 5th mystery, the Eucharist, I cry a lot. Okay. This is a cool question. What is your favorite apologetics topic to talk about or read about? Glad you're back. Probably confession and the Eucharist. I really love the idea of in persona Christi, which is Latin for in the person of Christ, that during Mass and in the confessional, Jesus is physically there through the priest. It's not just like, oh, I'm going through the priest to get to God. It's like the priest is Jesus right there in that moment. And I cried so much writing about my first confession in my book. It's like 4 or 5 pages just about my first confession. And I did it in my priest's office, so like face to face, and seeing his face and how he reacted when I shared all these horrible things I felt guilty about that I'd done that had hurt other people. He was so calm and gracious and gentle. And like that gentleness is something that I never, ever could have experienced in Protestantism. Like you can read the Bible verses about Jesus forgiving us and being gracious, but you can never have Jesus physically look at you. And that's what happens in confession. The priest is Jesus. Jesus is looking at you with grace and gentleness and forgiveness. And that experience is amazing. Someone in my Fiat group just now, she was talking about how she just did her first confession, and it was like the most amazing experience of her literal entire life. And it's because you have this giant weight lifted off of your shoulder and you get to like be interacting with Jesus. So definitely, I know I talked about confession more than the Eucharist, but obviously like the Eucharist stands in itself for why you like it. It's my love language. So getting to have that in my Catholicism is something, again, I never could have had in Protestantism. The first thing I do in the morning, Raphael says, is offer and consecrate my whole day to God through the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Aww. Lau says, thank you for the donation. Have you ever heard of or connected with Keith Nestor? He converted to the faith around the same time you did. Would love for you guys to connect. Okay, I will screenshot this because I'm actually looking for YouTube content. So I have a Video Ideas 2021. I just made my video reacting to Jubilee's Do All Virgins Think the Same? I also have an upcoming video, Catholic View on Purity Culture, comparing Girl Defined with God is Grey. And I'm going to message God is Grey, so don't message her that I'm making a video about her. But Girl Defined has a video, and all the comments and the like-dislike ratio were turned off on the video. So I watched the video and I'm like, this must be some horrible theology that's so full of malice and judgment that people hate it so much. But it was a totally normal video. So anyways, I thought I would share the Catholic view on purity culture. Solus Griffiths is back. Thank you so much for the donation. Hope you're doing well. I second meeting up with Keith Nestor. Okay, cool. I wrote it in my note of my 2021 video ideas. So I will definitely look at his content and maybe we can do a collaboration on my channel of me interviewing him. I love doing interviews. It's like what I'm going to do more on my channel this year because I literally am running out of content. I might start a podcast as well. People keep telling me I should start a podcast interviewing people. So we shall see. Okay. I totally lost where I was in the comments. Let's see. Howdy from the great state of Texas. Never Alone by Brawler Girl is so good. Yes, it was like their first signal that like really took off and was incredible. I'm Orthodox and I'm doing Father Mike's Bible study too. Yay! I mean, we're so similar theologically, so it's fine. Of course. Okay, we just read that comment. We just read that. My mom is doing the Bible in the year, LOL. Yeah, seriously, everyone's doing the Bible in the year. I'm going by the new St. Thomas Institute plan for reading the Bible, but I'm behind, which is totally fine. Like, we were discussing I keep talking about my Fiat and Exodus 90 group because I literally just got off of there. And what I tell them is that, like, we're already doing, like, above and beyond what is required to be Catholic. So if you're reading through the entire Bible in 1 year, you're already doing, like, above and beyond what's required to be Catholic. So you should never be hard on yourself and just every day is a new day to consecrate your life to God. Okay. Have you read the Bible in a year? Not yet. Michelle says, I will buy your book. Aw, I had a dream of where I was in the bookstore and I found your book. That's so sweet. I have dreams about meeting. I know that wasn't about like meeting me, but I have dreams about meeting YouTubers and stuff. So it's so funny when people tell me that they have dreams about me. So that's sweet. You dreamed about my book. It'll come true one day. Is it bad that I want to write novels and not about God? No, because God is within everyone and within everything. I hate this Protestant toxic theology of creating division between loving people, loving God, between like philosophy of the world and science and all of these things. And then you're like, the theology is over here. And really, if anything is good, beautiful, or true, then God is present in it. And especially with people. Like one of the most life-changing books I've ever read is St. Teresa of Avila's The Interior Castle. And she talks about how God is present and like this giant light in every single human soul. God is there. Like we would not be able to continue spiritually existing without God's power. And so if you write a novel about characters who are doing heroic actions and loving each other beautifully, God, of course, is present there. God's present in everywhere in the world. So we should never be creating division between like, oh, this is godly, this isn't godly. Like, obviously, some things are just like completely deficient of good, but God is everywhere. Okay. Your new hairbrush is so cute and your hair and lashes look amazing. Thank you. So I'll share this story with you guys because I did on my Instagram. So my brush, here, I'm just going to grab it real quick. So I know I'm wearing pink on pink. Don't judge me. I didn't think that would be in the shot. Okay. So my hairbrush broke like last March, which was like the very beginning of the pandemic. And I was like super scared of the pandemic. Like I literally never left my apartment unless it was to go grocery shopping. And I even was ordering my groceries at the time. So I didn't even take a walk. I was like never leaving ever, ever, ever. So my brush broke and like this part came off of the back and here. So it was literally just this part. And I never got a new brush because I was like never leaving and I didn't even think about it. And I was like, oh, this is fine. Like I can brush. Oh, I actually have it right here. Because I was trying here. I'll show you guys. This is what I was using as my hair. Isn't this pathetic? Yeah. So I was in the store getting my bipolar meds today and I was like, they sell brushes at CVS. Why have I gone in CVS every month for the past like 9 months and never purchased it? And it was like $7 too. You know, it's not like I'm like spending $100 on something. So, okay. You See Me Rolling says we are her BFFs. Have you read the entire Bible? Yes, I finished the entire Bible, I think at the end of middle school. So when I was in elementary school, like 8 years old is when I started reading through the whole Bible, like literally starting in Genesis and just like plowing through the Bible. So I hope you can connect with Keith Nestor. Something in the Water by Carrie Underwood is what I listened to during my conversion. She's amazing. So much of her music is Christian. Raul says, LOL, I'm live streaming and watching a live stream. Are you like doing gaming or something? I really like Avril Lavigne. What's your advice on getting informed in Catholicism, because there's so much to learn and so many avenues? I think it's really important to just read books and not feel like you have to learn everything all at once, because there's like 2,000 years of saints and theology and philosophy. So I think we can put pressure on ourselves to know like the entire church. Like I don't know many modern theologians, and I don't like ever read stuff about the modern church. And so there's a lot of like councils and things that people will talk about, or like modern saints who I don't know about. Because I feel like when I was converting, I wanted to see Catholicism in like the 2nd and 3rd centuries. So like from my apologetics content on YouTube, a lot of it has to do with like, what did the early Christians believe? And I'm not really expanding beyond that. And I'm thinking like, what did philosophers in the Middle Ages believe? Like I haven't gotten there yet. And I think that I haven't put any pressure on myself to like know everything within like 3 years of being Catholic. Like it's 2,000 years. So just be reading a book all the time, be reading a theology book. And of course, read the Bible, read the Catechism, but just like focus on the details of what you're learning. Amazon Warrior, Lizzie, you were in my prayer request. Thank you for all you do. Aw. Joanna says, you are like my older sister. Aw. What do you think of the Miracle of the Sun? I made my video reaction to the Fatima movie. And in the Fatima movie, they did a horrible job of the Miracle of the Sun. Because I read about it after we watched the movie, and I was like, that was like not at all as epic as it was. So I think it's, if you guys don't know, there was a Marian apparition, Our Lady of Fatima, pretty recently. And they have it all, it was like in the beginning of the 20th century. So they have it all on like video and stuff, the Miracle of the Sun. And the sun came like down. So it seemed like the sun was going to fall on them, and they could see it from like so many different, like far away kind of thing. So I feel like I'm doing a horrible job explaining it right now. But I made my video reacting to the Fatima movie with my best friend, and it got flagged for copyright, which makes sense. But it was up. A lot of people watched it when it was up. How many crucifixes do you have in your room? Oh my goodness. So there's the big one there, which like never shows in my videos. And then there's one there. And this is like an icon. And then that one, and that's not a crucifix. It's just like, wait, I'll be right back. Actually, I don't want to get up because I'm wearing like really tight yoga pants that I don't think are modest. But that one there, it's like an icon, not really a crucifix. Uri says, hi, Lizzie. I love your videos. You've inspired me to remain Catholic during my current college years. I have so many Protestant friends. Oh, be a great witness to them and pray for them to become Catholic. I have never really thought about how painful it was for Mary until I saw a dog get murdered by another dog. Interesting. Danielle says, I'm over halfway through RCIA and I finally talked to my priest personally for the first time yesterday. I hate how my anxiety holds me back from stuff when I need it the most. My priest actually led my RCIA because my parish, it's not small, but like the people in RCIA, it's small. It's like maybe anywhere, because I still attend RCIA, it's anywhere from like 3 to 6 people, you know? So we don't have an RCIA director. Our priest just leads it. Because we have mass in the morning and then we have afternoon mass. So it's like the hour between the 2 masses. So the priest, we'll like put on a Bishop Barron video. like his Catholicism series, not like his YouTube channel. And then other times we'll do like a Q&A with the priest, and people will just like ask my priest questions and he'll answer them. So I was so happy how I got to be so close to my priest from RCIA. And then my first confession and doing confession was always like so easy because we already had that relationship. What's your favorite song from Avril Lavigne? Head Above Water, definitely. I don't really listen to her other music, but that one song was just like on Christian radio, and I mean, I think I didn't even hear it from Christian radio. It just was like such a huge success, and I saw the music video and then got like addicted to the song. But I've really gotten addicted to it lately when I've been writing my book. I'm going to be so nervous for my first confession. So you'll be nervous like as you're going in or like as you're driving there, but once you're there, I don't think you'll be nervous anymore, because you have to just pray that like your patron saint, Mary, Paul, Peter, like whoever is on your saint squad, you just ask for them to give you the confidence and the peace as you do your confession. And like prayer works so strongly. So whenever I ask God for something, and especially when I ask my friends in heaven to be there with me and to pray with me and for me as I'm in confession the entire time, like you will experience the strongest peace. Can I be Catholic if I reject Vatican II and Vatican I? So this is something I feel like that's come up a lot, just because I'll be political for a minute. Biden is Catholic, and a lot of people are like, you're not Catholic because you're pro-abortion, because you literally legalize abortion. And people are like, he's not a Catholic. So that's technically not true. Technically, if you have a Catholic baptism, then you're always Catholic. You're just like a Catholic who's not in good standing, or a heretic, or you're like excommunicated from the church. But you're never really like stop being Catholic. So technically all Protestants are Catholic as well, because their baptism is Trinitarian, which means they've had a Catholic baptism. So in like an invisible sense, they're also Catholics. So you'll always be a Catholic. You just might be like going to hell. Or I'm not saying you personally are going to hell. I'm just saying in general, like if you're rejecting councils and rejecting dogmas and not trusting church authority or rejecting the current pope, like that's not looking good for your salvation at all. So it's really important. Like apostasy is exactly what it is. Maybe not like denying councils, but denying dogmas more like is apostasy. And in the early church, when they did confession, there were only like 4 things they confessed, like adultery, apostasy, murder, and what was I forget the 4th one. But it's literally like one of the only things that you're confessing. So it's really bad if you're rejecting councils and dogmas. So the whole political point about Biden is that he's still Catholic. He just is like basically not. I personally want the bishops to formally excommunicate him for supporting abortion, because it's one thing to like vote for a politician who supports abortion, but it's a whole other thing to like be the politician who he already has been changing policies to make abortion easier in third world countries. So Biden is just like, his salvation is in jeopardy right now because he's apostatizing. So it would be good for his soul and beneficial if he was excommunicated by, like, Gomez is in charge of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the LA Archbishop. So if he like formally excommunicated Biden, I think Biden would rethink his position on abortion, and he might be like, oh, I literally could go to hell for supporting abortion as a Catholic when I say I'm a practicing Catholic. So maybe I should rethink my policy and actually be pro-life. So I think number 1, it could save his soul. And number 2, it could reverse Democrat policy on abortion. So I think that he should be excommunicated for his good and for the good of unborn children. I am going to school next week and I'm not ready because it is going to be my 2nd year high school. Any tips? I just think you should pray about it and pray throughout the day. Pray in the middle of conversations that you'll find friends and develop deep relationships with them and be passionate about your classes. So I know that seems like a cop-out, just being like, pray, but seriously, if you pray throughout the day, it really gives you so much confidence and peace. Love to hear you talking about confession. It's great. Okay. Solus Griffiths says, I struggle so much with all the division of the Catholic Church, not to mention all the anti-Catholic Protestants. I just don't understand why God can't bring all of us together. Satan working so strong in the world. Like in the Bible, it literally calls Satan the prince of the earth. And God is all about unity and bringing people together, and Satan is all about division. I really love this one book called The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis is Anglican, and so he agrees with Catholicism on like most theology, you know, besides like the Pope. So his description of hell is that everyone lives like miles and miles and miles apart from each other because they fight so much and can't even agree. So everyone's like completely lonely, living alone in hell. That's what Satan does, and that's what hell is. And so I think it's like the most amazing spiritual warfare to divide everyone. Even people in the Catholic Church, it's insane how much we're divided, and that's Satan working so strongly. So we need to fight against that and pray for unity. Timmy, thank you for the donation. Can you please do a book review of Infiltration by Taylor Marshall or School of Darkness by Belladonna? No, I do not want to cause drama by reading Taylor Marshall's book. Excommunication doesn't actually kick you out from the church. It's more of a suspension from the church to give you time to reconsider what you did. Exactly. So I think it would be really great to, like I said, he's still Catholic. Even if he's like going to hell or even if he's excommunicated, you're still Catholic by your baptism, which I think is cool. It leaves an indelible mark on your soul when you're baptized. So don't tell that to your Protestant family. You're actually Catholic because you have a Catholic baptism, and Catholicism is Christianity. So you're just not Catholic in great standing. Okay. Please explain Eastern Catholicism. So basically, the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Eastern Catholic churches, like the Byzantine Church, they go off of a liturgy by St. John Chrysostom, who lived in, let's see what years he lived in. Chrysostom, he lived in the year, we don't even know when he was born, but he died in the year 407. So that means he lived in the 4th century. So he created like a liturgy, what we call Mass now, of the entire Mass, like the liturgy of the Word, the liturgy of the Eucharist. It's just like John Chrysostom's liturgy. And it has certain prayers, certain things the priest says, certain exchanges that the people say back. And that is the same. So like if you go to an Eastern Orthodox church and if you go to a Byzantine Catholic church, Eastern Catholic church, they have like the almost identical liturgy. So the only difference is that the Eastern Catholic churches are in unity with the Pope and the Orthodox churches are not in unity with the Pope. So the Orthodox church believes heresies, whereas the Eastern Catholic churches don't. I mean, formally, there might be Eastern Catholics who believe heresy, but like the priest won't be teaching heresy. Hopefully, maybe some priests do preach heresy, but like formally, the Eastern Catholic churches agree with the Latin Rite churches and the Pope and everything and all the councils. Amazon Warrior, Jacqueline from your Fiat 90 group. Love all you do. Thank you for the donation. Mariana, hey Lizzie, I just wanted to say that I asked you to pray for my friend's conversion, and I talked to him a few days ago, and he told me he accepts Theotokos and is open to Catholicism. See, God answers so many prayers. That's incredible. Orthodox churches do not teach heresy. They do not accept some core teachings of Catholicism. What is heresy? Heresy is when you believe a theological premise that is wrong. Brianna says, I respectfully disagree with a lot of Catholic theology. Well, thank you for being here. Like, what if somebody never has access to early church father writings and they only have the Bible? How would they know Catholic is correct? So you actually don't disagree with Catholicism at all. I made an entire, oh my goodness, we're back into the live stream. I made an entire video. It's like constant live streaming. So I made an entire video about something called no salvation outside the church. And the church is actually very merciful towards people who have never heard the gospel and never been able to research into the church, and they might be in heaven. That's what the church teaches. So I'll like link the video right here. No salvation outside the church for Brianna. I think the Catholic Church is actually one of the most merciful Christian churches when it comes to people who are not Christian on earth. I think like of all, I mean, you know, you might find a couple people who believe in universal salvation, but of all the like churches, like official teachings, I think Catholicism is definitely the most merciful. So don't know where you heard that we're not. This is like that quote. There are not 100 people in the United States who, why can't I think of it? There are not 100 people in the United States who hate the Catholic Church, but there are millions who believe what they wrongly, okay. Let's just get the exact quote. There are not, here we go. It like automatically comes up in my Google. Okay, so this is Fulton Sheen. There are not 100 people in the United States who hate the Catholic Church, but there are millions who hate what they wrongly perceive the Catholic Church to be. So here's a live stream example of that going on. Okay. Oh, okay. Archbishop Gomez does not have the power because Biden's bishop is Bishop William Malati. Cardinal Gregory could excommunicate Biden if Biden does something dangerous to the church. I think he's doing something really dangerous in that now there's loads of Catholics who are like, I can support abortion and be a practicing Catholic, which you can't. Like, as a Catholic, you have to want abortion to be illegal. You can't want it to be legal or be okay with it when it's murdering unborn babies. Can you please help me with the rosary? Do Catholics still pray like normal about people's problems and stuff while you pray the rosary, or is it just meditating? Yes. So as you're praying the Hail Marys, you can meditate on the mysteries, or you can just like impromptu talk to God. So a lot of times when I'm praying, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, in my mind, I'm just like, hey, God, I don't think I start prayers, hey, God. I'll be like, God, thank you so much for loving me and taking care of me. Please be with Trevor when he's da-da-da-da-da. Please be with my mom when she's da-da-da-da-da. So as I'm saying the Hail Mary prayers, I'm also praying just like random, not random things, but you guys know what I mean. Ari, thank you so much for the donation. Raphael, thank you so much for the donation. Is there a particular saint that is currently inspiring you right now? So definitely John Chrysostom, who I just talked about. I have been watching the Byzantine Mass live for the past few Sundays, and I absolutely adore his liturgy so much. And so I've been asking for his intercession a lot. And the Bible study that I lead, we actually are on break right now, but I did an Acts Bible study with some college students who I work with. And Chrysostom, we are doing the book of Acts, and Chrysostom has entire homilies on the entire book of Acts. So there were so many like Chrysostom quotes and Chrysostom interpretations that we read throughout the Bible study. So Chrysostom is on my saint squad. I actually ask him to pray for me a lot. So he has beautiful homilies. Bill, thank you so much for the donation. Every dollar helps. Striking blouse. Thank you. I love pink. As you can see, pink, 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 pink. I even have a pink prayer candle. Isn't that? I should light this right now. And I have like a ton of pink pens over there. So totally my favorite color. Oh my goodness, you guys. I have the best collab coming up. So this company called The Catholic Company, I saw Emily Wilson promoting this like bronze statue of the Holy Family. And so I reached out to them and I'm like, can I do a sponsored video with products from your company? So it's like The Catholic Company. I'm not sponsored. This video isn't sponsored. My video for it is sponsored. But anyways, The Catholic Company, they have like loads of Catholic art, like statues, icons, rosaries, t-shirts, mugs, like every Catholic thing ever, like stained glass, paintings that you can think of for your house. So they let me pick out 7 products, and a lot of them were like $60 each. So I was like, wow, they're so generous. And they're paying me $150 for the video. So basically the video is going to be, I'm going to tour my apartment and show everything Catholic that I have in my room, basically. And so there's like a ton of art here. that is never really in the shot. And then there's like a ton of art there. There's some stuff around. And then I'm going to do like a little haul of what they sent me. So I know I'm going to show my rosaries too and like my holy water fount, because someone was like, you should do a video, like multiple people, of like everything Catholic that you own. And I'll show my Catholic t-shirts too. So yeah, it's going to be like a rosary church art tour and then helping the company get more business. And they're giving me a discount code for you guys too. So yeah, definitely check out the Catholic company. I'm so excited what they're sending me. They're sending me the bronze statue of the Holy Family and a little Guadalupe statue too, so I can put on my desk. This is some of the stuff I have on my desk too. I have Mary and Jesus on like a little stand, and then I have Mary and Jesus too. So, and then my favorite is probably this. It's Peter and Paul. Oh, sorry, it's not even the shot. Peter and Paul, isn't that so sweet? They're hanging out together. If it's okay, I want to know your job. YouTube is my job. I also work as a campus minister, and I'm working on my book right now. So writer is also my job. Hey, Lizzie, could you talk about the attacks on Pope Francis that are so common in Catholic media, mainly coming from the right-wing Catholic outlets? What are your thoughts on this? It's so sad to see. So as I just talked about, Satan is the prince of the earth and loves sowing division. So it's an amazing way to sow division within the Catholic Church. They're like, I'm a conservative Catholic, you're a liberal Catholic, I'm a trad, you're an Eastern Catholic, I reject Vatican II Catholic. There's so many different like Catholic things, and we should just all be an Orthodox Catholic, lowercase o, which means straight, which means you accept all church teaching. So everyone should just be an Orthodox Catholic in good standing. That's it. We shouldn't have all of this division. But when you have people like literally hating the Pope, it's just like a whole other level. Like I think that sometimes I love candles so much. It makes me feel so peaceful. But I think you can disagree with the way Pope Francis phrases something, but you can't just like straight up hate him. Like you can't. Cardinal Dolan says that he will not excommunicate Cuomo because he would make it look like he is a martyr for the cause. Interesting. Did you finally choose the title of your book? So right now the working title might change, which is Coming Home from Church of Christ to Christ Church is the current title. But I literally wrote down something else that I thought of. Oh, Finding the Truth from Church of Christ to Christ Church. So which one do you like more, Coming Home or Finding the Truth? Someone messaged me recommending that. I was like, oh my goodness, I think that's cool. Finding the Truth. So let me know what you guys want the title to be. Okay. Topaz says, hi, Lizzie. I'm a big fan of you. You're a good Catholic inspiration to me. Oh, thank you for being here. Okay, so I asked for some questions from my Instagram. So we're going to go through those, and I'm going to answer some questions. Okay. Load. I recently changed from, I'll talk about my phone real quick. So I had Virgin Mobile for a long time, and everyone was like, does that even exist anymore? And I was only paying $30 a month for unlimited data and calling and texting. So they got bought by another company called Boost Mobile. And after that, my like 4G was horrible, really slow. It was a mess. So then I was like, I'll switch to T-Mobile, and I only paid $40 a month. And it's, when I was getting it, they looked in my area and they're like, oh, you have like a tower there. Like, you're great. You'll have amazing service. And this literally sucks. Like, it's so bad. Like, I've had to restart my phone multiple times for like any 4G to Wi-Fi. But if I'm like out and like, let's say I go on a run and I'm like running around in a new place in my neighborhood and I get lost, like I have to restart my phone to get any internet to like figure out where I am. You know what I mean? So it's just not okay. So I'm going to switch to a different phone provider. What do you guys think I should switch to? And how much is your plan? Because I don't want to be paying like $100 a month. So I might just go back to Boost Mobile, even though it kind of sucks too. Okay. Are you going to include Catholic art in your new book? So I personally think my face should be on the title just because I think most people, I know not Catholics, but most people who write like autobiographies just have their face on the cover. I could have church art, but I feel like people are going to be like, oh, that's the YouTube girl. Like, you know how there'll be people who like watch my channel all the time who will buy it, but there'll be other people who like heard my conversion story a couple of years ago and then are like, oh my gosh, she wrote a book. And then they're going to see it at a Catholic bookstore and then like get it. So I feel like what I want is a collage of like different things. And like one thing on the collage is my like why I'm becoming Catholic thumbnail. And then there's like some other things on it that like describe my conversion. And I'll actually, I don't think I can show it to you guys, but I have a little collage that I've made whenever I do talks. I make PowerPoint slides. Let's see if I can show it to you guys. Do I even have PowerPoint on this new computer? Okay, I totally do. What I'm gonna do, I'll show you my collage and like what I'm thinking of for the title page. I was thinking of like making my own title page and then sending it to the publishing company that wants you to like print out your book. And okay, here we go. Let me find it. This is a PowerPoint from a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure I did the collage in it. I think that's when I created it. Wow, my PowerPoints for events have like so many things. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna take a picture of this real quick and then I'll show it to you guys. Okay. So this obviously isn't like what I want for it, but this is kind of like what I'm thinking of. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has like multiple things. So it's like a picture from Lent, me in front of a Mary statue, like me next to EWTN, which probably, obviously I won't have like Rome Sweet Home in it, but I'm thinking of something like that would be like the collage. And then of course I'd have like my why I'm becoming Catholic picture. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, doing like a collage. I think that would be really cool. I know other people have had like church art as their cover, but I feel like I should just have like pictures of myself to the cover. That's like what I'm thinking for it. Maybe that's like full of myself, but that's like more of what I was thinking. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna answer some Instagram questions. Do you like the Hunger Games movies? So one of the movies, this was so long ago. I read the books like in high school, which was like over a decade ago, I think, for me. I graduated in 2012. Now it's 2021, so like over a decade ago. But I remember one of the movies I was watching in the theater, it was so fast-paced that I was so dizzy by like the way it was filmed. What are you supposed to pray for at the beginning of Mass? I just talk to God. I thank him for all the blessings of my life, and I do petitionary prayer for things that I need or that like my family and friends need. Have you ever been to Rome and the Vatican? No, Trevor and I are going to go there on our honeymoon, which, okay, so our wedding is supposed to be in 2022 summer, and I've been hearing like new things about COVID. I already said COVID, so this video is already demonetized. But people are like, it still might not be over by summer of 2022. So we might have to like push back our wedding because I want to have like a non-COVID wedding. And I feel like we dated for so long that like, I don't care if we date for like another 6 months, you know, like what's the difference? Like, do we really need to want to have sex that much? You know what I mean? Like we've gone this far without having sex. It's not like, oh, I'm like burning with passion. Like we need to have sex, you know, like I don't have that attitude about a relationship at all because we're just like celibate and long distance. But yes, we might have to push it back. I really want a summer wedding though. I think it'd be really beautiful. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to that when after the wedding. Okay. And we're also inviting some of our Catholic friends on the honeymoon. So we'll get there like a few days and then like maybe like 3 days after we're there, other people will come and we'll do more touristy stuff. Okay. Have you ever been to Wyoming? I've only flown over Wyoming. Which is your favorite wisdom book of the Bible? I love Proverbs. I love Sirach. It's like the newest thing because I didn't have the Deuterocanonical books when I was Protestant, but Proverbs will just always be my fave. How's the last chapter of your book coming along? I finished it. Any tips for budgeting money? So what really helps me is giving away 10% of every time I'm paid to God. For some reason, whenever I tithe my money, it's like God is rewarding me by giving me more wisdom and guidance in how I'm spending my money. So yeah, I just always find whenever I start by tithing my money, then I always do better financially and budget better. Okay. COVID till 2022, I just can't. I want to convert to Catholicism. The only thing stopping me is the Mary thing. Can you explain why you pray to her and the saints? Yes, I made an entire video on praying to the saints. So let's link the video in the chat. Here we go. Why Catholics pray to saints back when I was brunette. Okay, here we go. Why pray to Mary and saints? Also, if you're new to Catholicism, wanting to convert in, I have an entire playlist of Mary videos about Mary theology. Guess what next video is going to be? On the Theotokos. That's like my final Marian dogma. Just because, thank you for the donation, Bill. COVID equals climate-oriented virus in disguise. That's actually pretty interesting. Anyways, so Lizzie's Answers, Mary playlist. I literally have like, let's see how many videos are in this. 15 videos, what? There are so many videos about Mary explaining everything. So Mary Mary playlist. Here, I'll put Lizzie's Mary playlist. There we go. So leave the video, leave the live stream, go watch those videos. Okay. So in the Mary playlist, why I love praying the Rosary, Bible verses proving that Mary is Queen of Heaven, because in the Old Testament monarchy, the wife of the king was not the queen. It was the mother of the king. And so Mary is queen if Jesus is king in the line of David. Then we have proving the Virgin Mary is sinless, plus why I'm not brainwashed for believing this. 5 reasons Mary was a perpetual virgin. 5 reasons I believe in the Assumption of Mary. I prayed the Rosary every day for a month. How to pray the Rosary for Protestants. So like for people converting in. Some people saw the video title and they're like, why would a Protestant pray the Rosary? And I was like, for people who are wanting to be Catholic but are currently Protestant was my idea with the title. But there are also people who are like not wanting to not be Protestant who also want to pray the Rosary. How I stopped hating Mary and started to love her. How my view changed on Mary. The many miracles of Our Lady of Guadalupe. That's a cool video. And then my personal favorite, 7 reasons not to pray the Rosary from a Protestant debunked, which also talks a lot about what we were just talking about, like why pray to Mary. That video kind of goes more in depth on it. Okay. What are you going to give up for Lent? Last year, I gave up for Lent all music, not just Christian music, but no music. I might have to make an exception if I'm writing and like need music to listen to. But yeah, I gave up music and instead I have to listen to like the radio, Catholic radio, the news, podcasts, meditations, Catholic meditations. So that's what I'm going to give up for Lent. I'm already doing Fiat 90 where I gave up sweets, secular music, TV, movies, video games, not that I played video games, desserts, caffeine. So I already gave up like a ton of things for Fiat 90. So it's kind of like Lent. What else can I do? You know, like I'm already doing all these things. I pray the Rosary every day and I'm an Orthodox Christian. Yeah, that makes sense to me if you're Orthodox because you believe like most of the things we do about Mary. But what up, Byzantine chant? Yeah, so I'll allow myself. So I guess if I'm working on my book during Lent, I'll listen to Byzantine chants in the background or Gregorian chant. Okay. Raphael says, just wondering, what is your favorite saint quote? So one of my favorite things that I quote a lot no, that's too... I was going to share something, but then I'm like, that's kind of like a weird thing to share. I feel like it's kind of an inside joke between me and Trevor. I don't know. Okay. When is the episode? How do you feel about Harry Potter if you know it's fake? It's a fiction book, and not to spoil the ending, but the ending is like Jesus. That's like what inspired the ending. I can get you a dope playlist for Byzantine chant in English. Please send it to me over Twitter or Instagram or my Facebook page. Is it a mortal sin to vote for a pro-abortion candidate? So as long as you vote for them, not because you want abortion to be legal. Does that make sense? So if you vote for a politician and you're like, I want abortion to be legal, then that's a mortal sin. Like, you need to go to confession if you voted that way in the election. Even if you like didn't know, like, I would still go to confession. But if you voted for the candidate for other reasons besides the abortion issue, then that's not a mortal sin. But maybe still talk to your priest in confession if you feel like your voting was like against God. I talked to my priest for advice on voting, which is so interesting because, like, technically, like, religious leaders, because they don't pay taxes, are not supposed to make like formal declarations in politics, like saying to vote for which person. So the priest was like kind of vague, but like direct, but didn't straight up say like vote for Trump or anything. It was like more like, you know what I mean? Okay. Tiffany says, why is it that Catholics who aren't conservative are seen as less Catholic just because they don't vote Republican? I'm not liberal. I just don't think pro-life politicians are always the best. Yeah, I mean, I hate both political parties. They both go against Catholic social teaching. They both are pro-death in certain ways. But honestly, I think most people in the US don't fully understand the weight of abortion. I think because it's hidden, even for women who get abortion, they don't even see an ultrasound of it. So I think we don't realize how evil it is and how just like demonstrably like tragic, heartbreaking it is. Like, I don't even think I realize how bad it is. Lila Rose, she runs her nonprofit Live Action that's pro-life. And on the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which was this past week, she said she spent all day crying. And I was just thinking, like, wow, I am not awake to the horror of abortion. I've never once cried about it. And so I think we're just so desensitized about it. And I think all of us just need to wake up. And I have thought this for a while. I don't know. Someone in my life told me this, that if people literally believed that abortion was murder, we would be at the abortion centers, like, breaking in. Like, some people would be bombing them. You know what I mean? Like, because there's always, like, the crazy... sorry, I don't mean the word crazy. There's always, like, the violent person in the mix of a group. You know, there's always, like, that 1% or something that's violent. I'm not talking about mental illness. I'm talking about, like, some people who are unmedicated, like, small percentage of people with mental illness / people who are just violent. Like, there's always that small percentage of people who are going to be violent. And the fact that there's not, like, people violently going into abortion centers and like taking the employees and like destroying, like burning them or something, like the fact that that doesn't happen with some people. I know that like people tend to be more religious who are pro-life, but the fact that people aren't there like all the time praying means that we don't realize the horror of abortion and we're very desensitized to it. So I don't know if that even answers your question, but that is something I've been thinking about a lot just because the anniversary of Roe v. Wade happened. Okay, let's see. Jay Carson says, I've been wanting to convert into Catholicism. I've been watching your videos. Yay! My Melkite parish in Alabama is low-key known for the best Byzantine chant in U.S. Melkite diocese. Our diocese uses my church's recording to teach seminarians how to chant. Okay. So the end times is debating someone about how Mary was without sin. So I want to explain it a little bit. That really helps. So some saint came up with this. I obviously didn't come up with this, but imagine that sin for everyone but Mary is you're walking and you fall into a muddy ditch and you get mud all over you, which is sin. So Mary, as she was about to walk into the ditch, Jesus grabbed her and saved her from falling into the muddy ditch. So I think that really helps. Like, it's still through Jesus' power. It's not at all like Mary's power did it. Jesus' power through his death on the cross is what saved her, because God is outside of time. So the power of Jesus dying on the cross, it saved Mary before, like, at the moment of her conception. So it's all through God's power. And Mary didn't need to be sinless. God just chose that, because it's nice to have like a feminine model of someone who lived like the purest life besides Jesus. You know what I mean? It's just nice to have like a feminine model in the church and to have her as our mother. One of my friends who's not Catholic, but is from Brazil, which is a Catholic country, we were talking one time with some of our other friends, and they're like, yeah, like Catholicism is sexist. And she's like, Catholics literally worship a woman, Mary. Like, how are they sexist? And obviously, like, we don't worship Mary. Like, she was totally wrong in that regard. But the whole point is just like, we hold Mary in such high regard in how we honor her and think of her and ask her to pray for us. Like, how could we be the misogynistic religion when Mary is like this huge role model for everyone, for women and men? And so I think it's just cool to have like a feminine figure, especially because Catholicism, like a lot of the, like at mass and everything, you're not going to have like a female pastor. It's going to be like all the priests are male. So I think it's cool that we have like that feminine energy in Catholicism. Not like energy, like deity energy, but just like, you guys know what I mean, like a feminine sense. I think it's cool. Okay. Joe Biden should be denied Holy Communion. Absolutely. Most priests agree with that. However, he attends a very liberal parish in DC. Eating and drinking judgment on himself. That's what St. Paul talks about in the Bible. Okay. Lizzie, if you are to choose Jesuits or Dominicans, obviously Dominicans. Sorry, but like Jesuits are such heretics, and I know like some ruin it for everyone else, but just like historically, like the people who have been like a little bit like wrong theologically and heretical, the Jesuits. It's just like what their reputation is now, which sucks, but that's just how it is. Okay. Okay. We're going to get more questions from Instagram. Okay. Will you ever come to an Orthodox country? I would love to so much, just because most Orthodox churches are way more beautiful than Catholic churches. So I actually think it would be incredible. I really want to go to an Orthodox country and see all their churches. That would be so, so cool. Okay. Who is your favorite saint and why? So I'll talk about my patron saint. His name is Irenaeus. He was born in the year 130. He died in the year 202, I believe, in like the very beginning of the 3rd century. He wrote about Mary being the new Eve, infant baptism, apostolic succession, the Roman bishop being the Pope, like so many Catholic beliefs. But he was born in the year 130. And he was taught by this guy named Polycarp, who was a bishop, who was taught by the Apostle John himself. So it's literally like Jesus' teachings to John, Polycarp, Irenaeus. And he believes all these like super Catholic things that early. So that's why he's my favorite saint. And I asked him to pray for me a lot. Also, there's a controversy going on in the 2nd century called the Easter controversy. And Pope Victor I tried to excommunicate like a ton of the Eastern churches because they celebrated Easter on a different day. And obviously, like, the Pope has the power to do that. But Irenaeus was like, talk to Victor. And he was like, chill out. And he was like, you know what? Like, you're right, Irenaeus. And because of that, the church stayed united, even though the Pope had the power to excommunicate entire churches. So that's why he's my favorite saint, because he helped me become Catholic. I've wanted to go to Greece for years. I would love to go to Greece. That's like on my bucket list for sure. What do you think about religious life? I think it's so cool. I know growing up, I was like single most of my life. Like it's rare. It was so rare for me to be in a relationship. And it totally makes sense to me that people want to spend like their entire life single just to be devoted to God. Like I think in a near possible world, I would become a nun. I just happened to like find a guy who I was interested in when we were both in RSA. So yeah. Okay. How can you teach God to people at school without being kind of weird about it, you know? So what is not weird is if you just talk about your life. So they're like, oh, how are you? And you're like, oh, this weekend, my youth group went on a service project. We did a homeless ministry thing. It was so cool. We did a prayer session before that, and we did adoration that day. So people are literally just asking you like how you are, how it's going, and you just share. And I think you should be praying for opportunities for opportunities to share your faith. I know like in my high school, we talked about religion in a lot of classes, and a lot of times like our teachers were wrong about religion. And so I would be like, Christianity actually teaches this. And I know like especially in AP European history, our teacher was an ex-Catholic and like went after Catholicism. And if I'd been Catholic then, I would have been like constantly reframing Catholicism to the class. And so I think don't be afraid to like start up those discussions. Obviously be respectful of the teacher, but yeah. Alyssa says, is it possible for people with bipolar? Oh, thank you for the donation. Is it possible for people with bipolar disorder to be wrongly labeled an alcoholic addict due to their manic episodes? She said magic episodes, which I think is pretty cool, like a magic episode, but manic. Yes, it's really common for people with bipolar to be misdiagnosed. There's a stat that it takes on average, so this is like average. That means some people it's like more. Seeing 5 to 7 different mental health professionals before getting the right diagnosis of bipolar disorder. So that means like you've been seeing a therapist for a year, they misdiagnosed you, you went to a psychiatrist a couple times, misdiagnosed you. So a lot of times we're misdiagnosed as just having depression, but yeah, absolutely alcoholism. I read a study that said that they think alcoholism and bipolar are like the same illness, like the same genetic makeup. So totally, because a lot of people with bipolar disorder abuse alcohol. So yes to that. Do you have any update on your parents' conversion? So they're going to read my book. I want them to read the entire book. And the way I'm going to make them read the entire book is I'm going to tell them, I talk about you in my book. So I'm just going to send you my book. And you can share your thoughts on if you don't want to be included in the book and what you'd like me to edit or change. So I'm going to literally print out my book and mail it to them, and they can read through my book to find the parts about them, which are throughout the book. But yeah, so they're going to have to read the whole book to figure out like when I talk about them. So that's a great evangelism strategy because I share all my evidence of Catholicism in it. But yeah, so far, nope. Okay. What if you want to date someone who's not in the faith at all? So I literally receive so many stories and messages of people who are dating a non-Catholic for years or maybe for a year, and then they end up converting into Catholicism. So I personally think that dating and marrying someone who's not Catholic could be like the best evangelism strategy ever. So the church doesn't teach that you shouldn't date a Catholic, but I personally think that life will be way easier if you date someone of the same faith. So I would date someone who's not Catholic, but if they couldn't convert in like a year, I would break up with them. And the reason is because the Catholic Church is objective truth. And so if someone is willing to do some reading, do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of praying and have some humility, you'll become Catholic. It's very easy and straightforward and black and white. So if I was with someone, I would give them a chance to convert, but I wouldn't marry them unless they were Catholic. So that's just my personal perspective, but everyone's different. The church allows you to date non-Catholics, but it encourages you to date Catholics. Did you know that America basically took every name of British towns and named them their own? No hate. That's funny. Okay. What brought you to your faith? So I grew up Protestant my entire life. My parents were actually missionaries. So that's my parents brought me into the faith. But it was always like my own. Like I was praying on my own, reading my Bible on my own throughout like my entire life. Maybe you should make Trevor an atheist. He's my boyfriend. And then re-evangelize to him then. Lizzie, will you take the COVID vaccine? Thank you for not spelling it out so I don't get demonetized. I already said COVID several times in the video, so it's already going to get demonetized. So, yes. Sorry, I was thinking about another question that I saw. So another question that I got that's very interesting. Tiffany says, if there was a president who claimed to be a practicing Catholic like Biden, but who had the same platform as Trump and acted in the same way as Trump, do you think he should be excommunicated? So because he supported capital punishment, yes. Because that's the same as like a life issue, which you can't, like as a Catholic politician, you're not allowed to be for the death penalty either. Which was interesting because I think the Supreme Court recently voted for something. And I was like, they're all Catholics. Like, how is this happening? Because Amy Coney Barrett said that like in the past, if there was a capital punishment case, she would like back out of it basically and like not participate in it. So I was like weirded out. Like, how is the Supreme Court? Like, they're all Catholic. There's like 6 or 7 Catholics there. Okay. Raul says you probably have to give them a little more longer than a year for your significant other to convert. Okay, but like for me, I'm a very aggressive, debating, argumentative person. So if I was in a relationship with someone who clicked with me, we would both be very engaged and intellectual and like fighting each other. And it wouldn't be like a year. It would be like, okay, like you're wrong on all of these issues. You think I'm wrong on all of these issues. Here's 5 books to read. Give me 5 Protestant or atheist books to read, and then we'll have a discussion about them. It wouldn't be like, oh, like I'm praying for you to convert. It'll be like, okay, this is why you're wrong. That's how I personally am as a person. I know everyone's different, but if I was dating someone, they would be like that. So who are your favorite Catholic YouTubers to watch? Emily Wilson. I also love Jackie Angel on Ascension Presents. Okay. Do not try to answer everything. Like birth control, it's up to couples. No, mortal sin. If you use birth control as a Catholic, unless it's for a medicinal purpose, that's a mortal sin. You have to go to confession. Your soul is in jeopardy. For using contraception, like if you know it's a mortal sin and you're doing it anyways, I know many Catholics don't know it's a mortal sin. And so in that sense, like you have some grace there just because you're ignorant. But if you know it's a mortal sin and do it anyways, like get to confession ASAP and download the Natural Cycles app and start doing natural family planning. It's literally an FDA approved app that helps you track your temperature and everything else that there's a lot of guys watching, so I don't want to go in depth on how women track their fertility. But yeah, the Natural Cycles app, it totally works. It actually works better than hormonal birth control. So try out natural family planning. Then your soul won't be in jeopardy. It's a great, great alternative. Okay. Oh, interesting. The Supreme Court case was not about whether the death penalty should be legal. It was whether a previous court case had followed the law in a case that convicted someone who ended up getting the death penalty. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't read the article about it, and I was like, how is that possible? But that makes sense. Okay. We only have 15 minutes left of the live stream. Let's get some good questions going. What if someone has gotten their fallopian tubes tied and can't go back but has gone to confession? I know that in guys it's reversible, so I guess for women it's not reversible. If that's true, then obviously like there's nothing you can do about it, and you would go to confession and you'd be forgiven. So, but that's really sad though if you, yeah. Okay. Good night, Lizzie. I will keep you in my prayers. Good night, Raphael. I already took an NFP class with my fiance. Cool, so you know everything. I didn't want to like use the language because I know some guys would be freaked out. Whereas like if you're with your fiance there, like you're fine with learning like nitty-gritty details about like female anatomy. But yeah, I knew some guys would be like grossed out. So okay. Tiffany says that's a great point about the death penalty. I don't understand how candidates receive pushback from Catholics for being pro-abortion, but for not being anti-death penalty. When is the first time in history we see people praying to saints? 2nd century is when it's written down. So like in the late 2nd century, okay, well, first of all, I'll just link my video, which shares all of this in it. But Lizzie's answer is praying to saints. So if you want to hear the specific quotes, just watch the video, have them on the screen. But here, I'm going to link the video right here. But basically, there are grave inscriptions of people who have died. So it says, so-and-so died at this age, pray for us. And some of them are like babies who have died. It's really sweet. And so their baby died like when he was like 2 years old or something, but now their baby's in heaven and can pray for them. So I think that's really sweet. Okay. The use of condoms and birth control shows intent to purposely avoid children. Natural family planning is still being open to life, but working around a woman's cycle to space children. Is Trevor stalking in the comments again? I don't see him at all. So no, he's not here right now. I don't even think he knows that I'm live streaming right now. But he does have notifications turned on for my YouTube channel, so he literally gets an email every time I upload a video. Isn't that so sweet? He's supporting my career. Okay, thoughts on tattoos. Totally fine as a Catholic to get tattoos. I know priests who've gotten tattoos. Love the crosses at the back. Thanks. And all the icons. Okay. Let's see. The Eastern Orthodox can pray the Rosary. Yes. Tiffany says, I heard a Catholic figure on social media saying birth control is never medically necessary. Wrong. It is wrong to say that and could lead women to not seek treatment when it's not immoral. Thoughts? Okay, yeah. So I literally know people who have almost died. Sorry I'm getting so heated, but it freaks me out that people could literally die of their ovarian cysts from endometriosis because they're like, oh, it's a mortal sin. Like, I'll just try this diet. Like, no, you could literally die. Just go on the birth control. And the thing is, there's other ways to treat endometriosis. Like, not like, I'm not saying like don't use diet for health. Like, I'm vegan. Obviously, I believe that having a certain diet can improve your health and literally cure a lot of diseases. But it's really expensive to get the type of doctors who prescribe those treatment plans, like a natural doctor, whatever. So most people, like the average American, cannot afford, or they don't live in an area with a doctor who has an alternative treatment plan for endometriosis and ovarian cysts, which can burst and kill you. So for most people, birth control totally solves the problem, and it goes into remission, essentially. So yeah, it makes me really angry. And I understand. I was talking to one of my friends about this recently, and he like helped me out a little bit to have empathy for people who are spreading misinformation like this. And he's like, you know, like Catholics hear that it's a mortal sin, so they want it to always be a mortal sin ever. Like they never want to see a good within it. But it's like, just accept what the church teaches, which is that it's okay in situations. And I'm not saying like don't think or be intellectual about it. But when it comes to us as Catholics, we have to submit to church teaching, even if we don't understand it in the moment. Like, we can research after, but in the moment, you have to just accept church teaching. And church teaching allows birth control for medicinal purposes, which can even include if you have a really, really painful period where you're like debilitated during your cycle, you're also allowed to be on birth control. And it's because of Aquinas' theory of double effects, which basically says if you're doing something for one purpose, but a second purpose of, not a second purpose, but the effect of doing that causes this, which is a sin, it's not a sin because of the principle of double effect. So for example, there are never medically necessary abortions, but sometimes a woman will be pregnant and let's say she needs to do chemotherapy and it could harm the fetus. So because of the principle of double effects, it's moral for her to get the treatment, even if it does hurt the fetus, because it's medicinal and it's primarily for the purpose not of harming the fetus, but for her treatment. So that's a case where a lot of people would be like, oh, just get an abortion so she can do her treatment. But no, like give that child a chance at life. So yeah, there are never medically necessary abortions. I recommend to follow Live Action. They talk so much about these topics on their channel. Not on their channel, on their social media. Although Lila Rose is starting her YouTube channel soon. Okay. I don't know how to donate on here. So on the bottom of the text, there's like a little money emoji. There's a circle emoji for like a smiley face, and then there's a dollar sign next to it at the very bottom. Thank you for everything, Lizzie. Thank you for being here. We have 10 minutes left of the live stream. Okay. Any advice for a 12-year-old girl? Don't date. Do not be in a relationship that young just because you need to focus on hobbies, art forms, sports, school. Like there's so many things to be passionate about at 12. Like when I was 12, I was doing ballet, I played the viola, I was on the math counts and math Super Bowl team, I was in choir, I loved all my classes so much. And so I didn't have time for a relationship, and it's totally fine. Like my first kiss in my first relationship was at 19. And I totally don't regret that at all, not dating people throughout middle school and high school. Like sure, I had like people I was talking to or flirting with, but I never really had like an actual, like, I love this person until college. And I thought that was great. I thought it worked out so well. So don't get your heart broken in like little relationships. Like obviously there's some people who like meet in middle school and end up together, but for most people, no. So don't have low standards just to date someone unless you find someone who truly is like super intellectual and engaging and spiritually alive and helps you flourish. But probably that won't happen. So I literally recommend to not date. I hope my children will listen to me. Obviously, I'm not going to like have them sneak behind my back to date someone. But yeah, I am totally against dating at that age. Okay. I'm 22 and I've never had a boyfriend or even first kiss. Yes, see, I think that's fine. Okay. I play the viola, I play the violin. I've always been single and I'm 23. So if you do want to date and get married, just use apps. Do like Tinder, Bumble, Coffee Meets Bagel, Coffee Meets Bagel. So many of my friends have met their husband or wife on a dating app. Catholic match. Yeah, that's another option. Let's see if there's any more Instagram questions. Okay, I have to reopen the app to see more questions. Can you please explain to me John 14:9? Let's see what this Bible verse is. John 14:9. John 14. I need to read this in context. I always use Bible Gateway as my Bible. Okay. Do not let your hearts be troubled. This is John 14. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? If I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and I will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may also be. And you know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said, "Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." Philip said to him, "Lord, show us the Father and we will be satisfied." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? Whoever has seen me has also seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'?" Yeah, so because the Trinity. So because the Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Spirit is God. It's kind of like how in Acts, instead of saying the Holy Spirit, a lot of times it says Jesus' Spirit because the Trinity is so connected within that. Okay, we have 5 more minutes. Any burning questions, let me know. Morning, Lizzie. Well, it's morning here for me at least. Where are you from? How do you think the church should address racism in a way that's effective but does follow critical race theory? So at least the US bishops have released a lot of, not encyclicals, because it's obviously papal encyclicals, but let's see where it is. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops website, they have an entire committee against racism. And then you can look up statements and letters, church statements about racism. Here you go. So I personally think, Jay Carson, thank you so much. I think the church has done a really good job in thoroughly talking about the issue. I'm from England and it's 3 a.m. Wow, that's crazy you're awake to watch this. But I guess at certain points in my life, it was not weird for me to be awake at 3 a.m. Okay. Lizzie, do you have Gab? What does that mean? How do I ever go to a church again? The church I left was such a cult. It was Church of Christ like you, no instruments, no kitchen allowed. Literally, there are some Church of Christ churches where they don't allow kitchens. They think it's against the Bible to have a kitchen in the church. Crazy. Just become Catholic. We don't have crazy rules like that. SNK has a burning question. What is SNK? I don't see SNK. 3 minutes left. The thing is, they are not omniscient. They participate in God's glory. Any funny stories or miracle stories that have happened to you? Do you like Lord of the Rings? I've watched it with Trevor, yes. I love kitchens, Melanie says. Do you have TikTok, Snapchat, and what phone do you have? I do not have TikTok. I have Snapchat, Lizzie's Answers. This is my phone. It is, I think, 11. It's the one where your face can be open. Let me go into settings and see. iPhone 11. That's what this is. It has all my devices in here. Wow. Gab is like Parler where free speech is allowed. So one of those like ultra conservative apps. Yeah, obviously I'm a part of it if I've never even heard of it. Okay. TikTok is so toxic. Yeah. Also, like for Fiat 90, we gave up social media. I have not given it up because I have to do it for work. But obviously, like, I don't do TikTok for Lizzie's Answers, so there's no reason for me to be on TikTok. Okay. Do you ever think you will go back to school? Because I hate it. Yeah, I would be open to going back to school for a grad degree in theology, but right now I don't have the money to do it. And it would also take a lot of time out of my YouTube channel, so I would probably do it part-time if I did. So if I had like unlimited financial security right now, I probably would go back to school, but I don't want to take out loans. Do you ever have any doubt about the writings of the recent Pope? No. SNK asked a question above. 11:59. Yeah, I don't see the question. unfortunately. Okay. Twitter is becoming ultra liberal. TikTok is full of sexual lust. Wow. I'm learning Hebrew. That's so cool. Do you have any tips on mourning death? My friend died last year and I'm not over it. He died in 2019. That's so sad. You can pray for your friend. I think that's what's amazing about Catholicism. Like, I remember when my grandma died when I was in... Sorry, we're ending on such a sad note, you guys. But this is just real life. And especially with COVID, so many people are experiencing death right now. I remember when I was 13 and my grandma died, I had like these intuitions to like pray for her soul. And I did. And I was like, this is completely against Christianity and I can't. But that's like my intuition of my soul is to do that and like pray for her soul. And now as a Catholic, that we're able to pray for the dead and ask them to pray for us is like so incredible, having that connection, because souls are eternal. And so they're gone, but they're never like fully gone in that sense. So yeah, I absolutely love praying for the dead and having people in heaven pray for us. Being all connected is amazing. How do we read the Summa Theologica by Aquinas? So either go into a class like at the Aquinas Institute or read theologians who are like summarizing it rather than just like starting at the beginning and like going all the way through. Okay. Okay. Can you end with a prayer? Oh, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Dear God, thank you so much for social media and YouTube and how everyone is brought together. Please be with everyone who's watching right now. Help them to have a peaceful sleep and remember to keep God central in their prayer lives. Please be with the country right now, politically, socially, economically. Please be with everyone who has COVID. Please bring all of them into your kingdom. Please bring peace into the world and an end to abortion. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I love you guys so much. I will see you in my next live stream. I'm probably going to begin live streaming twice a week now. So I will definitely be back. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. My next video actually is going to be on why I still attend Protestant and Orthodox churches as a Catholic, because you are allowed to attend Protestant and Orthodox churches, but there are some rules for it. So that's my next video. Bye.